Welcome back. This is the second lesson recording for IM1, March 19th, 2021. You're taking notes now on inequality symbol. So there are two inequality symbol, that is greater than or less than. That's how you read it. And you would read this as x is greater than 3, x is greater than 3, and x is less than 5. That's how you would read it. And then there are two more inequality symbols with bar underneath it. This is same as greater than, but greater than or equal to. That bar underneath it is a shorthand for equals as well as greater than. So we read this as greater than or equal to. And this is less than symbol plus the equal sign. So it's less than or equal to. And symbols compare from left to right as before. And so if you have x is greater than or equal to -2, that's how you read it. And this next one is you read it as x is less than or equal to -3. Number line symbols. So how do I indicate this in inequality? The boundary point, where is this point here? It is -1, right? And it is a closed circle. That means it includes the number. So you use greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So closed circle means you are going to be using either of these inequality. While as if you have an open circle like this, then you are going to be not including the number, which means you are going to be including greater than or less than. Notice that equals means it includes that value in itself. So with that, you are going to be working on card number 16 to 21 of Desmos. So here, card number 16, we have to represent x is less than or equal to 7. Okay, so the first thing is we find our 7. Where is my 7 here? Draw my circle around it. Now it has less than or equal sign. That equal sign means it's going to be a closed circle. We have to color in the circle. And it is less than. So 7, remember the alligator mouth is opening to the bigger number, which is 7. 7 is bigger than x. That means x is smaller than 7. So x, any number that is smaller than 7 is going to be this direction. Okay, so you're going to shade it in like so. Okay. What about x is greater than or equal to -3? So again, we find my boundary point, that's -3 right here. Draw a circle around it. But then we're looking for greater than or equal to. The equal sign tells me that point is included. It can be equal to -3 as well. So I'm going to color that in. Now I want the number to be bigger. The x is the bigger number between x and -3 because the alligator mouth is opening to x. So the values, the numbers are bigger than -3. So we're looking for numbers that are bigger than -3. So it's going to be all these numbers to the right. Okay, I want you to look at this. Okay, do you see that when you just look at the sign here, it is that inequality sign is pointing to the right? That also works to go with that way as long as the variable is on the left. If you want to use this method, then you need to make sure the variable or the number that we are trying to color is on the left. And if that is the case, then look at the symbol. That means it is pointing to the right. It's like arrow that is pointing to the right, and we're going to be shading to the right. But as well as we're going to color the -3 in because of the equal sign. This time x is less than -5.5. First I need to find my -5.5. Where is that? Is that going to be between -4 and -5 or -5 and -6? It's going to be halfway between right here. So this is going to be -5.5. So that means my point, I am going to color around that. Okay, now am I going to be shading it in? That depends on the inequality symbol. x is less than negative 5.5, there is no equal sign here, right? It's just less than. That means it's smaller than. So x is smaller than negative 5.5. That means more negative. So we're talking about numbers that are to the left, and you can see that the inequality sign is pointing to the left as well. Only use this method if you have the variable on the left hand side. Okay, represent the following situation on the number line and also as an inequality. So the Prospect High School has more than 1,400 students enrolled. So the prospect, let's just say x, okay, let's just call that x, is the prospect, number of students at prospect, has more than, that means it's bigger than 1,400 students. Okay, so that will be my inequality that I would write here. So that I'm looking for to draw graph my inequality on the number line. So I find my 1,400, 1,400, like so. That's my 1,400. Then from here I need to draw it. Okay, so draw a circle around it first. And should I be shading it in? There is no equal sign here. It's just greater than. So I'm going to leave it as open circle. And I am going to look for numbers that are bigger than 1,400. That's going to be to the right, like so. Next up, card number 20. Represent the following situation on the number line and also as an inequality. The temperature will drop below negative 5 degrees Celsius tonight. That means the temperature will drop below. That means it will be more negative. It will be colder than negative 5 degrees. So if we call that T, the T will be smaller than or is less than negative 5. So that means we need to find my negative 5. From here, I need to draw a circle around it. The inequality is below or less than. It does not include negative 5. So I'm not going to color that in, but we want to make shading the side that is smaller than negative 5, that's to the left. Card 21, only children 4 feet or under can go into the kiddie pool. Okay, so the height of the child has to be 4 foot or under. That means it can be equal to 4 or it can be smaller than 4. So that means it's less than. So how do I combine less than and equal? That is going to be by putting it as less than or equal to. So it's less than or equal to. So I'm looking for 4 here. Then from here I am going to draw my circle around 4. And because of the equal sign, I am going to shade that in. And then I am going to make it less than 4. Now, if you really want to be correct, now can you have a child's height become negative? No, you cannot. So I could connect it, stop at right here, which is 0. But actually that's going to be a more of a extension, so let's just take it as less than 4. Now we're going to be talking about solving inequalities. Now if you add 2 to the number and the result is less than 10, and it's being asked what is the number. So, and we want to represent it on a number line. How would I do that? Let's translate what is just being said into math. Okay, so that means we have add 2 to a number. How would I translate it to math? Add 2 means plus 2 to a number. So I am going to add 2 to a number. So I am starting with a number and adding 2. And the result is the result is less than, okay, I'm just going from left to right. Maybe I should write it right underneath here. Is less than 10. So I have n plus 2 is less than 10. N plus 2 is less than 10. Okay. Well, we know how to solve n plus 2 is equal to 10. What would you do? We don't want n plus 2, we want just n. So what did we do when we were trying to solve it as an equation? We subtracted 2 from both sides, right? And whatever you do to one side of the equal side, we did the other, and we said that n is equal to 10 minus 2 is going to be 8. Well, you pretty much do the same thing with the inequality. So we don't want n plus 2, we want just n. So I want to get rid of this plus 2. How do I do that? I subtract 2 from both sides. That goes away, and you're left with n is less than 10 minus 2 is 8. So now that I am down to a number and an inequality and a variable and an inequality and a number, I can plot this on the number line. I start by finding my 8, and this time I am going to be drawing an open circle because n cannot be equal to 8, so 8 is not included, and we want the number to be smaller than 8. It's less than 8, so we are shading to the left. Okay, next, another question. 4 times a number is greater than 20, and it's asking what is the number. Well, we want to represent that as an inequality, so let's try to translate it. Okay, 4 times a number, so number we're going to call that n. 4 times means 4 is being multiplied to the n. Is greater, that means is greater is symbol, alligator mouth opening to the left, greater than 20. So I am looking at 4n is greater than 20. Now we know how to solve 4n is equal to 20. How do we do that? We divided both sides by 4 because 4 times n is, how do I get rid of this 4? 4 is being multiplied to n, so I need to divide both sides by 4. So I do the same thing here to 4n is greater than 20. You divide both sides by 4, and that leaves you with n is greater than 20 divided by 4 is going to be 5. So now that I am just left with a number and the inequality symbol and the variable n and inequality symbol and a number, then I can graph it and I can find my 5. And this time I am going to put a circle there, and this is greater than, so it's going to be open circle because there is no equal sign here. It's not greater than or equal to, it's just greater than. And I'm looking for numbers that are bigger than 5, and the bigger than 5 are numbers like 6, 7, and so on. So it's going to be shading to the right. With that, you're working on card number 22 to 23 of Desmos. Solve the inequality. 4 plus x is greater than negative 5. How do I do this? I need to get rid of this positive 4. So I subtract 4 from both sides, and that leaves me with x is greater than negative 5 minus 4 is going to be negative 9. So find my negative 9. Find an open circle because inequality does not include equal sign, and I am shading to the right because I'm looking for numbers that are bigger than negative 9. 3x minus 2 is less than or equal to 13. How do I do this? Well, if it was equal to 13, we would get rid of this negative 2 first, right? By adding 2 to both sides. And that leaves us with 3x is less than or equal to 13 plus 2 is 15. And then from here, we would divide both sides by 3. And that leaves us with x is less than or equal to 5. And that's what we graph. Okay, so we have x is less than or equal to 5. And so we have colored it in and then shade to the left. That's it for today.